Hello, party people. It's Ashley of SingleWomanChronicles.com, where being single is a beautiful choice rather than a miserable circumstance. And today's episode is brought to you by my books, Single Woman Chronicles and Atlanta Love Story Kinda, and How to X Your Ex, a guide to getting past unhealthy relationships. They're available at Amazon, Barnes& and Noble's website, as well as books on Google Play and Apple Books. And also, book one of Single Woman Chronicles is on Audibles, as well as How to X Your Ex. So get on over there, get your listen on, so you ain't got no excuse. If you was like, I don't really like reading, yeah. You probably got you a little free credit, so go ahead and use it. But yeah. So today we're going to talk about how to X Your Ex a little bit. And I wanted to speak on it because closure is such a big thing in our community, in the human race. Everybody want closure, child. But I just want to talk about how you can get closure without an apology. So before I get into that, I just want to shout out to Beyonce for her cootie cat popping music that she released. If you got to be living under a rock if you don't know when Beyonce drops. You know what I mean? Like, who doesn't know that? But yeah, I'm just really feeling the album. Like, it's giving get ready for the club. It's giving don't go to work. It's giving bend over and shake that thing. Like, I really listening to it, I just wanted to go somewhere. And I listened to it early in the morning on Friday. I listened to it at like 8 a.m. And I'm like, what club is open? I need to go there. I need to go to the club because this is cootie cat popping music and I need to pop the cootie cat, okay? And it's just what it is. I'm from the South. I'm from Mississippi. Very close to New Orleans. We be twerking, okay? So yeah, it's very twerk music and I loved every bit of it. You hear me? Every bit. Yeah. So, and I just really like that she was really talking that junk. Like, her music really made you feel good about yourself. Because you was living vicariously through her crap talking. Because she like, I think in one song she talked about how one day I'm overrated, the next day you want my nuts. Like, for real. Because y'all really need to put some respect on the queen's name. Because even if you like her or you don't like her, I always tell people, anyone who doesn't like her, I always say, have you been to a concert? Have you been to a live show? Most of the time they say no. Anyone that I've known who didn't like her, if they saw her at a live show, they quickly changed their mind because they realized that I don't care what you say or she's just not your cup of tea for whatever reason. She is the hardest working woman in show business. Point blank, period. Like, she literally works harder than everybody. I don't know if y'all saw Homecoming, but the woman is a robot. She works harder than everybody. So put some respect on her name. Like, come on. But yeah, so that was just great. Anywho, so today we're going to be talking about how to get closure without an apology. So, you were in a relationship or you were in a situationship and now it's over. And that person, y'all didn't really talk about it. It kind of ended abruptly. There wasn't a conversation. Something in you feels unfinished and you feel like you need an apology or you need a conversation in order to have closure for the situation. My philosophy on closure is a trap. That is literally the title of chapter 4 in my book, How to X Your Ex. It's called The Closure Trap. The reason I say closure is a trap because I feel like closure is an excuse that people use to not move past relationships because they have a false hope in the back of their mind that if they talk to this person, then something will change. But you just gotta believe who that person is and move on. But back to the topic at hand, how do you move on if you didn't get an apology? You just do. And I'm not trying to sound cruel or whatever, but let's look at it like this. What is an apology going to do? for you, right? Because typically we want the apology because many times we want that person to own up and take accountability for whatever they did to us. Because many cases, when you want closure from something, it's usually because you didn't want it to end, right? Because typically, if you wanted something to end, you don't need the closure because you closed it. You like, I'm good. I'm straight. There was a closure. I wanted it to be over. But typically, when you want closure, it ended prematurely, it ended abruptly, and you want answers, right? You want to know why. You want to know how it could have been fixed. You want to know just all of this stuff, right? And my thing is, what is that going to do for you? Now, I know we like to believe that having the apology, having an explanation, that person taking accountability is going to help you move on quicker. It is not. It is helpful if you have it, but the thing about it is, when you're going through that initial emotion of getting out of a relationship, especially if somebody dogged you out, especially if something went wrong, especially if you didn't want it to end and it caught you off guard, no amount of explanation is going to speed that process up. Like, literally, that person can sit in your face and be like, listen, you are a wonderful human. You did not deserve what I did to you. I am so sorry for doing this to you, but it's still over. That's not going to mend your heart. It may boost your ego momentarily, but when you wake up tomorrow, you're still going to feel those emotions. So what you have to do when you don't get the apology, when you don't get the explanation, when you don't get the answer that you want, because ultimately when you're looking for closure, you're not really looking for an apology or an answer or an explanation. You're really looking for changed behavior, a changed outcome. Honestly, that's what you're looking for. You're trying to revisit it to see if there's something that's salvageable, if something can be done, is there an inkling of hope in this situation? And 9 times out of 10, it's not. And you're prolonging your grieving process. So it's better for you to just accept what it is and understand that no matter the explanation, when something is over, it's already closed. You don't need closure for something that's already closed. You just don't. It would be great to have, but it's not a necessity. Because that person could disappear off the face of this earth. That person could unfortunately pass away. That person could just refuse to talk to you. Are you telling me that you're just not going to move on? No. You have to control what you can control. And the only person you can control is yourself. So what you have to do is get your mind right. First thing to do, accept that it is over. It is over. And understand that no matter what is said, nothing is going to help mend your heart any faster. You still got to go through that grieving process. You still got to get through it. You still have to go through getting over them. Because we have this false belief that even if something ends amicably, it doesn't hurt. No, it still hurts. Because the separation from you and that person is just a process that's painful. It's just a painful process. And no words can help with your heart. It just can't, right? Thing 2 to think about. Your life isn't over. This is just a moment. Grief is just a process. Grief is for a season. It's just a season. You're going to get over it. You're going to get through it. It's okay. Like, I promise you, you will get through it every single day. Now, the myth, I hear this all the time, and I don't like when I hear it because it's not true. Time heals all wounds. That's not true. Because time can pass and you can suppress your emotions and choose not to face them and choose to compartmentalize. And you can wake up 10 years from now still unhealed from something. No. Intentional time focused on healing heals your wounds. Wounds. Said womb. Intentional time focused on your healing heals, not just time passing. Now, time without that person does readjust your dependence upon their presence, because honestly, a lot of the times the reason we're so sad is because we're lonely. We're used to a routine of having that person in our life, and now that person is absent. That person is no longer there. So now we have to readjust. Life is now different. Life is now changed for us. So we have to adjust with that, right? So time without that person does make it easier to live without them, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have healed, right? But the more time you have without them, the easier it does get. So understand that your life is not over just because you didn't get the apology, you didn't get the explanation, you didn't get the answer that you wanted. You know, it's not over. It's just a small season, a short season. Honestly, if you sit in it and you face it, you're going to get past it quicker than if you are telling yourself, I need closure to move on. No, you don't. Because here's my thing. I always go into any situation thinking worst case scenario. If this person agrees to meet with me and have a closure conversation, what is the worst case scenario? What is something that they could say to me that'll make this breakup even worse? I go through that because I'm like, okay, I'm at this point now where I've broken up with this person and I'm understanding that it's over. Now, if I have another conversation with them, will it help me heal quicker? Because there's a possibility that they could say everything that I want to hear. They can tell me that I'm the most beautiful queen that they ever met, and they will always regret losing me, and that they have a llama outside, and that they will pay me compensation for wasting my time. That would be the best case scenario, right? But what about the opposite end of that? What if they come in and they got a new girlfriend on their hand and they sit her next to me and they're like, listen, I left you for her because she better than you. Then what? Like, that's worst case scenario in my mind. So no, that's not likely to happen, but you just never know, right? You never know. It's the streets as well out here. The streets is crazy. You don't know what could have possibly happened, right? But I say that because when you have conversations with people, when you claim to want closure, you're going in blindly because you literally have no idea what that person is going to say. So why not just control what you can control, which is yourself, and just get the closure by yourself. And if you're like me, a lot of the times when I've wanted an apology, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't the cause of the breakup, because I'm the type of person that I internalize a lot of stuff because I'm an overthinker and I overanalyze, and I'm always trying to figure out how can I improve, right? So if a situation ends and there is like an odd ending, an abrupt ending where there's no conversation, I'm always wondering like, dang, did I do something wrong? Could I have done something better to salvage this? Like, what's going on? So a lot of the times even when it's like left field wrong, like I've had situations where men have literally had whole babies on the way. Whole babies on the way that I didn't even know they had kids on the way. And they self-sabotaged our relationship in order not to tell me that they had kids on the way. And I'm just sitting here dumbfounded because they done started an argument with me because I sneezed wrong. And I'm like, what's wrong? What's going on? Did I do something? Did I say something? What happened? And they just ghost. And then months later, after I got over it, I look online and they got a 2-month-old. And I'm doing the math like, dang, if they got a 2-month-old and we stopped talking 6 months ago, their sister girl was pregnant already. What is going on? But in those moments, I had to get the closure without the apology, without the explanation. And so what I had to do is get out of my mind and stop telling myself like, it was you, it was your fault, it's because you're not such and such enough, you're not this enough, you're not that enough. I had to say, listen, no. First and foremost, the people who are supposed to be here will be here, and the people who are not will not, okay? Point blank, period. Thing number 2, if there is something that you did wrong, they should have told you. They should have told you, okay? because I'm self-aware enough to know when I'm tripping or when I'm wilding, because I'm the type of person that I don't mind constructive criticism at all. Like, point blank period, I do not mind it. And I am the girl who I will, because I care about people, not everybody, but if I care about that person, if you tell me work on this, I'm like, even if it hurts, even if it's painful to hear, I'm like, dang, that hit. Give me a minute. But I'm going to work on it. And I'm also the person that I'm going to go to my friends and be like, hey, listen, this happened. Can you give me an unbiased opinion on if I'm wrong or right? And I don't have yes men friends. I do not. They are very, listen, you tripping, you wilding, you overanalyzing this, you tripping, you was being anxious, you was being clingy, you was being this, you was being that. So many times, that person didn't give me an explanation. They didn't give me an apology. I just had to move on. So I had to adapt certain mindsets. Like, stop blaming yourself, because if it was supposed to work, it would have. Get out of your head. Just accept what it is. Accept what it is. If you did something that bad, you would know. They would tell you. Point blank period. They would know. Because I think to myself, when someone does me wrong, I got to make sure they know that they did me wrong. Unless it's like those situationships where you talk to somebody for like 2 weeks and they do something stupid and you like, you know what, I'm going to just block him. It ain't even worth it. But when it's a situation where I've literally been dating this person and they do something wild, you going to know. You going to hear from me. So, yeah, if you did something wrong, you would know. They would have told you something went down. You know what I mean? So get out of your head about it. Make sure you understand that the apology is not necessary, because either way, it's still going to be over. You still got to heal. And if you're trying to rekindle this relationship, stop saying you need closure. Say you want another chance. That's what you want. Because I've had people come to me for advice, like, how do I get closure from the situation? And I'm like, well, why you need closure? And they're like, well, I just want to make sure that, like, they take accountability and they change their behavior in the future. Why them changing their behavior? What that got to do with you? Because y'all over. Like, what does that have to do with you? Well, I just feel like they, owe me. No, they don't. They don't. We got to stop feeling like people owe us something. Like, yeah, because you're a good person, it would be wonderful to live in a world that being a good person, sowing the right seeds in relationships, cause you to reap the benefits. But that's not always true, because many times we sow seeds into bad soil and get upset when it doesn't reap a harvest. We sow seeds of strawberries when we want grapes. And it's like, why are you sowing strawberries when you want grapes? You should sow grapes. I'm going to give you an example. If I choose a person who I know is emotionally unavailable and I sow seeds of love into him and I get mad that I get nothing, that's my fault, because I'm sowing seeds into bad soil. I can't expect to get an apple from a grape tree. It just ain't gonna work like that, right? So we have to stop feeling like people owe us something, because no, not in every situation you're gonna know right off bat that person is whack. No, we're not. But once we learn that and the relationship ends, we should feel like we're blessed. Not that they owe us something, but that we blessed that we exited the situation. Because a lot of people keep fighting for something to change that ain't never going to change. So, no, that person don't owe you nothing. You owe you something. You owe you forgiveness. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself healing after that situation. And that's just what it is. And yes, it would be wonderful to think you're owed an apology. And you probably are. Now, I'm not saying to just let everybody in the world off the hook, but we can't force that. We can't have that mindset where they better give me an apology. Or what? Or what? So we really just, many times in life, bro, you don't even understand. I'm saying bro because I'm feeling it. You don't even understand how many times in my life I've literally forgiven people, and I got an apology a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later. By that time, I've already forgiven you. So that's how I know I can forgive someone without an apology. That's how I know I can get closure without an apology, because I've done it. Because honestly, your mindset is so different when you take a step outside of it, when you start to face those emotions, when you really get into it. I always say, don't make logical decisions when you're in your emotions, because you're not thinking properly. You don't know what's going on. You think you need an apology. You think you need that closure. You think you want to rekindle something, but you really don't. You just don't want to be apart from that person. That's just really what it is. So it's just, you have to shift perspectives. That's literally the point blank in the period. The way to get closure without an apology is to shift perspectives. Your mindset has to be different. Stop thinking that you need the apology. Stop thinking that they owe you something. They may, but at the same time, you can still move on without it. Stop thinking it's the end of the world and you're going to be sad forever. Stop thinking that they're going to leave you and go treat somebody else different. That's a fear for a lot of people. I'm going to just sidebar that. A lot of women think that as soon as they leave a relationship and the guy goes on to date someone else, he's going to treat her way better. I'm going to tell you this. If he was a clown in your relationship, I'm pretty sure that he's not going to grow up overnight and not being a clown in the next relationship. You may be looking and like, oh, he treated her better than he treated me and blah, 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 blah. First of all, you shouldn't be watching, because you doing yourself wrong. Stop watching him. Stop social media stalking. Stop looking over there. Fix your focus. Focus on yourself. Leave that alone, okay? Because that ain't helping you. That ain't helping you at all. That's just going to make you more pissed off and want this apology and a closure more. Because honestly, you don't even want closure now. You want to cuss him out, okay? That's what you want to do. But yeah, stop thinking that, because I've had situations where the guy, I have a scenario in my brain right now, like where I was dating this guy, and when him and I were dating, we were both like, I was in school, he wasn't in school, but he was like building his career. And so we broke up, and like 6 months later, he came into some money and started investing, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, he, like, before, when he was dating me, he still treated me well, even though he didn't make a lot of money. Like, he still was very caring, as far as like, I wouldn't say caring because he's not caring. I'm lying. He was a man's man, meaning like he still took me out. He still paid for things, like, stuff like that. But he couldn't take me on he couldn't take me on trips. He couldn't take me to really super nice restaurants all the time. Like, we spent a lot of time together at his house, at my place, because, he was struggling. And I understood that. I was totally okay with that, because I really liked him and I just enjoyed being with him. Fast forward 6 months later, after we break up and he coming to some money, I see him dating this other chick, and he taking her on trips, paying for everything. They going on fancy dates. He buying bags. I'm over there like, wait a minute. What's going on here? But circumstances changed. So the level he was treating me was the highest level he could at the time, but because he's coming to some money, it looks like he's treating her better. But no, he just had more resources. But at the end of the day, they still broke up, so he's still the same fool. So I just want to let y'all know, like, stop looking over there first and foremost. Stop social media stalking. Like, anytime I'm done with someone, I just unfollow them. I like delete them from my memory on the, how they'll do like suggested when you're typing somebody in. I delete them from all that, because I know if I look over my shoulder, if I look back, I'm going to be mad and I'm going to have to start over my healing process, and I ain't got time for that, right? So it's just all a shift in perspective. And I really would love to get into more, but like, honestly, my book tells you like so much, because like I said, it's a whole chapter called Closure is a Trap, because it is. And yeah, like, it just really takes you through your breakup, how to get through it, how to get over it, especially when it's fresh. And this is helpful for situationships too, child, because these situationships be having us in a chokehold, don't they? You be really feeling it. You really be like, dang, I done really wasted my emotional minutes on this food that wasn't even official. That is crazy. Why am I healing over this? This is dumb. Like, what is going on? But hopefully I helped y'all a little bit. And yeah, like, comment, share, and yeah, let me know. All right, bye.